All right, it is a weekend, and we are once again here, and this is the Gracious Hope Live Podcast. We are here every Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central Time. And if you are living in Liberia, it is 9 p.m. by now. Please share our link with your friends, your relatives, and your loved ones so that they can be a part of this podcast today. And it's going to be exciting because we have our special guest here, Mr. Abraham G. Massally. He is the former president of the Press Union of Liberia, and he recently had a statement in the analyst newspaper in Liberia, and he raised a concern about why Liberia are so hyped up for a new leadership, and there might be a reason why, or reasons why. A lot of Liberians are happy because apparently they voted a new leadership because they want to change. But hey, he is calling all Liberians' attention to the fact that we must look at our history and see where we are today. And therefore, we can rejoice and we can do the pageantry and everything. But let us take a breath and see where are we and where are we to go. Should we expect more from the President-elect Joseph N. Boakai's administration? Or should we kind of temper down a little bit and see how we all can rally around and look at some of the causes of our crisis, or to where we are today? That is, we are a little bit stagnant when it comes to our progress in comparison to other African countries, looking at Liberia as the oldest African independent country. And so we have Mr. Massally here as our special guest today. But before he comes on, let us bring in Reverend Suah Deddeh. Reverend Suah Deddeh is here, the co-host, Reverend Deddeh. We are so excited to see our friend and a brother, Reverend. No, not Reverend, Mr. Massally. Did I say Reverend? Tongue
Man,
tied a
you
little
gonna
bit.
ordain a man before anything? Wow, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. I can see the excitement because he's one of us. He's a friend and a brother whom we've known over the years. For those of you who don't know, Masale was my leader when I was Secretary General of the President of Liberia. When he left and out, contested and became president. So we've come a very long way. This is somebody who I've come to respect because he does not mince words. He says exactly what he means. Sometimes I might not agree with everything he says, but that's the fact because we all have our different perspectives on issues. So we have to express those divergence of views so that we can arrive at the main things we want for our nation. So we are
Yeah,
glad to have my friend and brother here today, and I know we will not be disappointed, especially after reading his article published in the newspapers in Liberia. I'm sure he has a lot to offer that he did not mention in the article. So we hope we can engage him today so that we can get more from
more
what he
from
kept
him.
from us. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
Alex.
and I'm
Alex,
excited.
welcome,
Yes,
Alex.
thank you. Yeah, and I'm so excited to have him here because the article is very well written, and he says some very good things that we are to listen. Okay, he's not against the current administration. He is not against the victory, but he wants us to look at specific things, that will make us to pull back and say, hey, should we do this collectively, or should we just leave it to the executive branch? So there's a lot we have to talk here. But look, this our friend in the broadcasting arena, Tia Doma, Mr. Tia Doma. He was going to the Nima County in one of the cities. He stopped there and he saw this and he took pictures. These are organic banana or
Wow.
plantain. Is that plantain or banana?
That's plenty. That's plenty. That's plenty.
Plantain, huh? Man, look at this
Yeah.
Liberian woman. I want to go to Liberia. I want to travel because I've been away for a long time. Look at the cornrow. Look at her braid or hair. I haven't seen that for years. I just want to
uh,
see this in large quantity. Look here. Is this Edo? Is that Edo's,
that's
right? All
Edos.
here.
Edos a plantain.
Wow. This
Wow,
is a
wow,
great picture
wow.
that I've seen here. And I'm so excited to share with you here. And that's Liberia. We eat organic food, okay? And we have plenty there. All right. And for all our viewers, please share our link with your friends and feel free to opine express your opinion and based on what we'll be talking about here because it's about country and we are looking at the moral of the entire story. This platform is designed to promote and preserve the Christian heritage of our country, and we are not here basically to talk just get into politics, but even when we're talking about politics we look at the nuances and see how we can unravel areas in which we as a nation should stand for righteousness. In fact, the president-elect and the outgoing president, they are both Christians. They profess that they love Christ and they believe in Christ and they love him with all their heart, all their soul, and all their mind. And of course, they have membership in their church. President-elect Boakai has his membership with Ethel Baptist, and President George Weah has his membership with the is that 4K church.
Yeah, I think for clone. I think for clone. Yeah.
So we are seeing both holding the microphone. In fact, President-elect Boakai, his statement, first statement in his church when he after his election, he said, "I am praying and hoping that some of those moral values that have held this country together will be values and principles that my administration will promote." So it has to do with our cultural cohesion, our social cohesion, things that bind us together. And that is our faith because we believe in love and compassion. We believe in righteousness. It doesn't mean we are perfect, but it has to do with integrity, which, of course, our guests will be talking more about that today. And without much ado, let us bring on our guest, Mr. Abraham G. Massally, former president of the Press Union of Liberia. Welcome to this platform, Mr. Massally.
Thank you, my brothers and friends. First, I want to thank you so much for the good work. Uh, I believe I came on this program about a year ago, or
Yes.
more than a year ago, and at that time, I didn't see this significant improvement that I saw today. I'm really, really impressed. I think
Amen.
I've gone to talk shows so far, and I've watched some talk shows so far, and I must say, from my own judgment, your own is the best so far.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
We
and
are
I like.
humble.
I
Ellis,
mean,
that's
the
a
first,
flattery. Ellis, that's a flattery because you can also say that. That's a flattery, Ellis.
you know me. I don't miss my voice. You know, I don't miss my voice.
I know.
The
I
first time I
know.
came to the program, it was not like this today, and I'm really impressed. So I mean, I must give you the accolade when you do good. I should also criticize you when you do wrong. But I think you guys are on the right
Sure.
footing. Great work.
Okay,
Thank
well,
you.
let's get to business.
Thank
Recently, you were in the news, and a lot of us read your article, the analyst newspaper in there. You said the incoming government, you said there are high expectations by Liberians, but Liberians must tune down their high expectations because the incoming government, if they think that it will fight aggressively corruption, which is the meanings of our country, it being to society, it is something that takes a lot of leadership. And you listed some of those characteristics, and we'll get into them. How come? What motivated you to come out this time to speak loudly like this? Because you've been so quiet these days.
Quite exactly. The thing is, my brothers, our country, Liberia, is still in transition, and thank God we are still alive and we have the strength. So we have the responsibility to make sure that that transition is carrying away in a manner that at least our country will be a little much better than we will leave it to our kids. If we don't get engaged in the country, if we don't speak out on these vices, on these evils, on these ills, people will think that it's the norm of the day. But corruption, impunity, evil, divisiveness, those are not norms of the day. These are things that are tearing our country apart. And if we just keep our mouth shut, those in authority, even those who attempt to be in authority, would think that they are the only being, the only Liberians who can advocate or speak for our people. So I've been away from this platform for a while now. A lot of friends have called me, so many friends, so many relatives. They say this is not your nature. It has to be involved. This is your country. Don't You have to engage with the country. So I think that's what my motivation is. I want to re-engage with my country. I want to do the best I can. I want to speak out where it is good. We'll praise you. Where it is wrong, we'll criticize you or at least offer corrections and suggestions.
Okay, great. Reverend Deddeh.
Yes, certainly. You touched on a lot of things in your article, and most of them are factual. But what really caught my attention, you talk about this hotline to have whistleblowers and people who see corruption, abuse, and the rest of that to secretly report that. That's one thing. You also talk about the budget that should be recast and the rest of that. You said Boakai's fight against corruption will create some resistance in his own unity party. But let me bring the budget question to you. You said, and I'll read it directly here: the national budget needs to be recast to reflect a significant reduction in salaries and benefits for elected and appointed public officials. Would you mind elaborating on that?
If you look at the budget, in fact, the speaker's budget now is 2.5 million. So it's additional half million added since 2022. If you look at the senators and the representatives, they make thousands and thousands of US dollars every month, while the ordinary citizens are just languishing in complete abject poverty. So, in my view, our budget is predominantly recurrent, where almost 98% is going towards salary. Nothing is left for development. Nothing is left, like in Cape Town now, where I come from. The hospital is completely a wreck. Had it not been donations from churches like church organizations and churches in the United States and other areas, our people will be left at the mercy of God. So this is so because the countries generates revenue, and the revenue is applied to expenditure based on the budget that is set up by the country. So if we set up a budget and we have all just about almost 75 to 80% going towards payment of salaries, what is left for development? What is left for healthcare? What is left for roads? So we just are at the mercy of our expatriates. We are left at the mercy of foreign governments. If they don't make donations to us, our people just don't get any help. So that's what I'm saying. That I hope this incoming government will really have that courage, because he's saying that the president elect is saying that he was going to fight corruption. He's going to build a better Liberia, but you cannot build a better Liberia when you have senators making 15,000, 20,000 every month, where the ordinary people who work in these offices, some of them don't even make $75 a month. So the disparity is just too vast and too huge. So that's what I'm saying, to display commitment to what the president elect is saying. If he's really serious about business, he has to make sure that at least he pick that fight to reduce our budget significantly too. Because I believe this is the first time in our history under Ellen Sirleaf that I see presidential appointees making thousands and thousands of US dollars. That has never happened. Even under the Tobo regime, that never happened. I remember ministers used to make $800, a month, $700 a month, $600 a month. But now they're making 10,000. The minimum a GM minister is making is around 5,000, like assistant minister. Why do we pay so much like that? Even the great United States, they don't pay their senators that amount of money. So that's what I'm saying. If the president elect is really serious about complete waste of government revenue, then he should make sure that he recasts the budget. I'm sure there are people in his party who won't like that, obviously, because for them, they want the gravy train to continue so that they can continue to loot the country. But he has to show that I am ready for business. Like he said, he want to change the course of the country, and that has to begin with the finances.
Yes, so that would be fiscal discipline. And you did point out even the speakership, the speaker's office budgeting around about 2 million. You said that's a lot of money, and you came down very hard on wasteful spending, and you want for wasteful spending to be cut out, because if you look at the rest of the population, destitute indeed, we need healthcare, we need our education to improve in a lot of areas, even the roads that the president-elect is talking about, that there will be no, in 100 days, there will be no car stuck on a major highway in that country. I mean, it is a very monumental task to have that accomplished. But then you said, in order for him to aggressively fight corruption, I mean, it does not take he alone, but a collective will, that political will. So then we come, it boils down to leadership to fight corruption. And you gave a historical significance. You look at the 1980s. It says since 1980, the progressive came, they wanted to change, but we have been entangled in a political loop of change. Can you elaborate on that, please?
Look, Alex, I was a teenager when the coup took place. We were all on the streets as little kids, joining our fathers and uncles, celebrating that the country has come back to us, the native people. And how long did it take for us to begin killing ourselves? How long did it take? I think less than 8 months, the first coup was announced. And after that, people just, the country just went in turmoil from one coup attempt to another coup attempt to another coup attempt, which ended in the bloody civil war. So the expectation of Liberian people were completely dashed in no time.
Mm-hmm.
Then we saw Taylor with uprising. People say, well, it's about time to change the course of the country. Again, people jubilated when they heard about the invasion in Nimba County, but we all heard and saw what happened in Nimba, which eventually spread to Grand Deddeh, Grand Cable, and all the other counties. So I am saying, let us be more cautious. Change has not worked well for us in Liberia because we have lacked that leadership to implement change and to secure it, to make sure that it benefits us. Change in Liberia has only benefited a very, very few people. And I don't think the this coming government is any exception
Mm-hmm.
because we lack that discipline to implement change that will benefit the country. Our country is pretty much set up in a way that people come to power just to seek whatever glory they can get for themselves and their families, personal aggrandizement. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that's the sine qua non of our country. I remember when I became president of the president of Liberia, my aunt came to me and said, you know, they call me small and say, this is our time, whatever you can get it so we can build our house. So that's the mentality of our people. So to fight corruption is not an easy thing because it's embedded in us, the villagers, the people in the city, in the churches, in the mosques. Pretty much the whole country is corrupt. The judiciary is corrupt. And people see corruption as a way of life that is decent to steal money from the public and live a decent life. But that is so wrong. We have lived in this country for some time. America is strong not because of the government. America is strong because of its people. The people will rise up if they see wrong. The people will push to make sure things go the way they want it to go. But for us, we celebrate evil. We celebrate corruption. We celebrate those who plunder our country, buy flashy cars, and we stand on the street and say, look at the car the man is riding.
Mm.
You know? But where did he get his money from? So that's what I'm saying. Corruption is embedded in us. It's very, very deep. So the people in the Unity Party, they are Liberians. They, they're not gonna come from they are not coming from Ivory Coast or from Pluto, they are just Liberians, and that's the culture. So that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Boakai is gonna have a very tough ride. And
Mm-hmm.
if he insists on implementing what he wants to implement in the country, which is very, very good for the country, he's going to meet resistance from his own party because
Yes.
that's what we are used to as a country.
Mhm.
And you said that for a change to happen, particularly with the president-elect Joseph N. Boakai, he must be a leader with a sense of nationalism and patriotism and genuinely dedicated to serving the interests of the people. And you said, I hope he will be up to that task. Now, you want a leader that is stern, that is firm, and a leader that is embedded with the character to bring change. Now, the president elect has been in government for almost 40 years. Don't you think he has all of those qualities to implement these changes?
Well, look, Liberia is a chieftaincy country. Our country is a chieftaincy country. The leader, once you become the leader in the country, you pretty much control the judiciary, you pretty much control the legislature, you pretty much control the churches, you pretty much control the mosques. And he has not been tested that way. He may have been vice president, but he had never tested power to the point of where he becomes the dazo of our country.
Mm-hmm.
So until he can really show that this is what he means, it's going to be something that we expect to see from him. Because I have followed his track record, but I don't know whether he resolute enough. I just don't know whether he's resolute enough. Because I don't see any indication anywhere to say when Baka was, like, say, at PMC, he was very resolute. I heard he was a good leader. But was he a resolute leader? Was he a STEM leader? Was he a leader who stood by what he said, even when people disagree with him? I don't see that track record. I don't see that track record in him. I know he's a good leader. I know
Mm-hmm.
people, he's somebody people say, which is true because I've interacted with him. He loves his country. But to be resolute, to do what people may not want you to do, but you feel that it is the best thing to do, it's not an easy task. And I don't
Yes,
think
it's not.
I will.
It is not. And Reverend Deddeh, before you come in, just a follow up here, Mr. Massally. Well, I may also agree or disagree that indeed he's a resolute leader because if you look at his history, I haven't met him personally before, okay? But if you look at his history, okay, way back and up to now, the first round of election, that is the first election where George Weah won. Okay, he came back for the second time and he won. Right, he tried a second time. So if he was a leader who is not resolute, a leader who does not have integrity, a leader who is not stern, why are all of these people still stuck with him and he came for the second time and won? So I think he must have developed a reputation, a character all along, all through these years with those that he worked with to bring him thus far.
Look, my brother, let's face the fact. Okay? Let's really face the fact. People rally around Ambassador Boakai because they know the country is going in a very horrible direction. So the majority, the overwhelming majority of Liberians who supported Boakai, they didn't vote for him per se because he is Joseph Boakai. They voted for change. They voted to see the country go into a new direction. We all felt that the country is going to a terribly wrong direction. And if we continue that route, it will be worse down the road for all of us. So people saw him as the lesser of the two evil. That it is better that we put this, that we change. So it was more of a changing course than accepting course for Barkai. I don't think he was elected because he's a resolute leader. I don't see where he's ever been resolute. I don't think he was elected because he was a very stern leader. Where is this? I mean, like in this country, you can track people record by just googling what they have done, or just follow them. But Parker has been in government for some time. I'm not saying any reading about him that he was a resolute leader anywhere. I'm not seeing anywhere that he was a STEM leader anywhere. I know he was a benevolent leader. I know he was, and I know he's a God-fearing leader. And again, another point that I want to stress here is even if he is a resolute leader, one person cannot do it. And that's why you need a leadership. A leadership. And that's a mistake we continue doing in Liberia. I just told a friend yesterday. I said the reason why personally I don't support individuals for president is because of that. Because we put our hope in one person. thinking that that person will deliver our country. You know, but the person is just one person. He's infallible. We all make mistakes. So I would prefer us putting our hope and trust in our institution, and there where we lack. The party is not an institution. CDC is not an institution. These are
Mm-hmm.
all organizations built around individuals. Our country will never be strong that way. We need to build political institutions. You see, Sierra Leone, they have APC, SLPP. Those parties been around for the last, before I was born. You see, Nigeria has two major political parties, and the third one has emerged. Ghana has two, you know. But what's about Liberia that has been around before 1847? We just build political parties, we build elections around individuals. Right now, this election was built around Boakai. If Boakai blunders, that's the end of the Unity Party. You don't
Mm-hmm.
build country like
Okay, Reverend Deddeh, go
That,
ahead
that,
and we'll take
that
a break. Go
yeah,
ahead.
that is very, very true. I was reflecting on the elections results. The elections were held October 10, and there was no clear winner. So we had to do the runoff elections on November 14. And Boakai defeated Awia by just over 1 percentage point. 1 percentage point. This would be the closest runoff election in Liberia's history. And we are considered defeated after the runoff election. So that tells us that the country is split in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So the opposition, which should now be the CDC, will have a voice in what happens in the country. And of course, and we agree with some of the analysis from Mr. Massally that the president will have to really put his feet on the ground to make sure that the issue of corruption is dealt with sufficiently. Mr. Massally said, and to a large extent, which is true, corruption has weakened every
Just
public institution in the country,
yeah.
including the legislature, the courts, the police, the anti-corruption agencies. Then are all polluted by corruption. The question then is, who can we trust? But he does not stop there. He recommends this uh, corruption hotline for the public and
Yeah.
whistleblowers. Yeah, my question is, in the face of establishing this corruption hotline with people of integrity, or you say it should be a special integrity or oversight unit or corruption, who going to be part of this special integrity or oversight unit or corruption? Would it be the same people in government? Would it be a different parastatal of government? Will it be international people who going to be a part of this committee or unit to exude integrity and respectability?
what I see in the United States is that people set up independent organizations, say like the Justice Department here. They have an independent agency that monitors the Justice Department. Say like the FBI. So all the organizations have independent agencies that actually monitor them. So that's what I'm saying. We should set up a corruption hotline. I'm sure I'm not talking about getting expatriates or foreigners. It has to be Liberians. I'm sure no matter what, there are one or two credible Liberians still around. We can identify these people. We can start as a pilot project. Say the police. Let's set up a hotline just for the police. You know, let us begin to report on the police. Where you see corruption, where you see abuse, where you see mismanagement, report it to the hotline. Let the hotline do its investigation and recommend uh, penalties or punishments or prosecution. So let's start from there. If it goes well, then we extend it to finance ministry. I mean, when you set up these programs, it takes a long time before you can have the full benefit of the implementation. It's going to take time. You're going to tweak it here, you're going to tweak it there, but we got to start from somewhere. They have that in Pennsylvania. I'm sure they have that in Maryland where you live. Every major city here has hotlines that people can report on the conduct of their public employees. If you don't like the service a particular agency provides you, like here, we just dial 311,
Mm-hmm.
you know. And definitely there is somebody at City Hall who will answer you and they will follow up and they will call you back and say this is a resolution. We can start that in Liberia. There are people
Exactly.
in the diaspora. There are people in the diaspora. There are people in Liberia who have integrity. We can just start with that. Look, if you begin to report, say, just Bushel Island, the conduct of police officers, let's just do a Bushel Island. Things will change on Bushel Island. If we extend it to Pinsville, things will change. But right now, nobody is accountable. Police does what they want to do. Nobody check on them. So we have
It's
to
true.
start from somewhere. I
Yeah.
really believe that their commanders are not going to discipline them because the commanders they say are corrupt. So we got to start from maybe a hotline like this, begin to make reports. Look at, for example, like Carwell, where I have some friends there. I mean, they will just come and pick you up anytime they want to pick you up. They say, oh, this guy carry a complaint and let's go to the police station. You go to the police station. That's what happening in Liberia right now. You go to the police station, they may say you owe him $5. Oh, yeah, owe him $5. Okay, I'm going to lock you up until you can pay. That's happening in Liberia right now. And they will lock you up until you pay. If you don't pay, they say you spend 3 days at the police station, then they will transfer you to Central. Why would they do that? That's not a criminal offense. If I owe you, that's civil matter. Why would the police be involved? But they do that because nobody is checking on them.
Yes. Yeah, so we're talking about accountability, transparency, and the need to dispense justice in the right way. Now, if you're just joining us, this is the Gracious Hope Podcast. My name is Pastor Alexander Red, the host, and Reverend Suah Deddeh here, also the host. And our special guest is the former president of the Press Union of Liberia, Mr. Abraham G. Massally. And we have been talking about his latest article in the Analyst newspaper, and he says, hey, all Liberians, yes, we expect a lot from this new government that is coming in. We did that before, and we have seen this movie over and over since 1980. We have been entangled in a loop. So he's calling for the cutting off of wasteful spending. He looks at the budget in the national legislature, the judiciary, the 3 branches of government, even the executive, to see how they can streamline the budget that will reflect the destitute living of the people. And so we are talking about that, and we'll talk more about that hotline he wants the country as a whole, Liberia as a whole, you as a citizen, both in the diaspora and in Liberia, to start thinking about ways and means in which we can set up a hotline to report corruption in every institution, because if we have a very strong institution, our democracy will grow and flourish in every way because people will be held accountable. But if there's no accountability, there's no transparency, then we will still be going down the road. We'll be in that loop, according to him, political loop. And so we'll be right back. Don't go away, and please stay tuned. All right, so we are back here, and we're going to be getting more into what Mr. Massally is proposing here. And if you are part of this new government that is coming up, listen up for both the new government and also the outgoing government, because you have some level of influence here still in the branches of government. So he is saying here, according to his January 10, 2024 statement. Mr. Massally is he is proposing that there should be a setting up of a corruption hotline for the public and whistleblowers to make confidential and anonymous reports on corruption, bribery, fraud, waste, abuse, and mismanagement in government. And he's also suggesting that such call center, that would be a call center, should be managed by a special integrity or oversight unit on corruption. And he said this will begin like a pilot project, okay? That is experimental project, and it will be expanded in phases. Okay, and I'm kind of visualizing this because this is a very nascent idea that you're bringing, and it makes a lot of sense because if you look at some of the strong democracies that we see today, and you look at those institutions, they have an avenue or an atmosphere for whistleblowers, those who work in an administration or in a department. When they see wrong going on, let them call unanimously, say, hey, this is going on. And I believe that is going on, but it is not set up yet, or it is not legislated like in law yet. Because how do you think the American embassy, how do you think they gather information on corrupt officials? How? They got whistleblowers, they talk to people, but you want
They
it to be
do.
official now so that the national legislators can sign into a law, so we can have this call center where people will be held accountable and be transparent. Because if that's what we want an efficient government that is effective. Yes, we might have somebody checking on somebody to make sure that they are seeking public interest and not self-aggrandizement. That I word you use, self-aggrandizement. And so it's a good thing. So let us look at the phases. Okay, you said there will be phases, right? It will be a pilot project, and then it's going to grow into phases, and then it will be expanded around. So can you uh, visualize and explain to the Liberian people more about that call center? How is it going to be set up?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Before Masale come in, Masale, let me just add this to this so that you can just deal with Ellie's question in mind. I'm understanding you to say that each government private startup should have this integrity, I mean, the hotline in each of these bureaus and agencies and ministries, so that
No.
that's not what you're seeing, right?
No.
Okay,
Because,
good.
because if you do that, you're going to pollute the whole idea.
Very
So
much,
it
very much.
be one centralized organization that will handle that.
Great.
Let's say, for example, here in this country, we live here, right? Let's say, for example, the case. Most of these child welfare agencies get their reports based on the fact that people they have hotlines established. So as a parent, you know if you molest your child, you know they're gonna call on you, right?
Sure.
As a if you improperly discipline your child, the likelihood is that the child will go to the school and tell the school, and the school counselor is going to because they have this established here. So that in itself is a deterrent. We don't have that deterrent in Liberia. So if police officers know that there is a hotline in Monrovia, in Liberia, where the public can report on corruption, they're going to be careful because they know that is the deterrent. So we are not only waiting for corruption to occur, but we are actually trying to deter it
Mm-hmm.
because we know that the police will know or the government employees will know there are people watching over you. So I don't know how the American embassy get their information, but that's not a deterrent. You know that, you know. So we need to have a deterrent that hey, in our country, if you're engaged in corruption, there are people overseeing. It's just like the Tottenham era. It's just like they were just wrong. The Tottenham era. Those days when I was a little kid, they had they used to call it well agents or they had some names for them where
Yeah.
nobody could talk ill of the government because the fear was in the population that people will report on you.
Mm-hmm.
So nobody dare talk about government when Todd was alive.
Even
So
your
he,
own family members took a report on you.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So nobody could talk anything evil or talk about government. So in as much as that was bad, but they succeeded doing that. That's how they kept in power for so long. But now let's do it a positive way. Let our own family members report on you when you are doing the bad. So let us not only be like, when the corruption already occurred, then we get a report from American embassy, then we publish it, then they put sanctions on you. But let us deter corruption in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
Let us deter waste management in the first place. Let us deter abuse of power in the first place. And once people begin to know that people are watching you, they're gonna be careful because jobs are hard to come by in Liberia. So my second point is, like I said, let us start this as a pilot project because the country is so. I mean, even though Liberia is it's a small country, but it's still a big country in our eyes. Over 5 million people. We have a lot of institutions, a lot of agencies. So I'm not saying that, and that's how we feel because, like I said, what within 100 days there will be no pothole or no this. To me these are unrealistic. Start little by little. Start with say, let's deal with this division, this agency, you know. So police, because I really believe all the coast system. If there's a problem in the coast, I mean, once the people know that they have, then the good thing is, Reverend Deddeh, I can stay here now and call my village. I can stay here now and send money to my village. I couldn't do that even 3 years ago. So the country has got so internet connected. So people can stay in their village now and call Morovia. So if somebody misbehaves in my village, if there's a hotline, our people can call and say, hey, these guys went to our village and this is what they did to us. You know? So that's why this hotline of view is very, very important. Because when people know people are watching them, they're gonna be very careful. You think well here, people it's hard for you to abuse your child here. Because there's a hotline that is set up to report child abuse.
You're
you
gonna be
know,
in trouble sooner or later.
you
Yeah.
know. So even as a Liberian, even that's not your culture, but as soon as you come here, you hear, oh, here the children get report to you when you do wrong. You don't want to slap that child because you know that child is going to tell the school counselor, and that school counselor is going to call the hotline.
Yeah.
Indeed,
Yeah, so
indeed,
it takes
indeed.
collective will, though. I mean, to the new government is coming in, and at times we expect the government to do this and do that. But Liberians themselves, they need to have an environment that is created, or atmosphere or environment that is created by the government to provide jobs for people to work, and then pave the way for people to get trained, like vocational schools and all of that. But now we see our country where it is just hard to get by, especially when foreign investors, are not coming in. Now, you want for people to work and be paid for the dignity of that labor. Now, the civil servants, and that is not happening. It's something that really strike your concern, because how will you work? How will you feed your family? And then you can't get paid on time, especially the outgoing administration had a fallback on civil servants' pay. Some of them, they didn't take pay for the Christmas, the New Year, and that is very, very. That looks very bad on the government, and also created some sort of animosity in the hearts of people, or bitterness in the heart of civil servants. And for that to be alleviated or eased, you are saying there should be a high level or significant level of accountability, transparency, and some ethical rules put in place. And that's why you're calling for the call center, for things to go right. And if the budget is there, then what is holding up the money, in between, that people can get paid, like ghost lists and all of that people had. But to do that, it takes a lot, Mr. Massally, for them to do. But it's not just the government. What's about the fourth estate, the press, the media, and you being a boss, former boss of the media? Can you give us an assessment of the media's performance before the election, prior to the election, and now, and what is the future? And even as we see the press union in shambles right now.
I really like. I told a friend yesterday. You know, Reverend Suah, we were in the leadership of the union at a very difficult time in our country's history, especially under a brutal dictator. But now the press is free. They can read whatever they want to write. They can see whatever they want to see. But unfortunately, I really believe our culture, our country, the corruption has killed every institution, even including the media. Most journalists are corrupt in Liberia. If you send a good story in Liberia, I mean, that's how I see it. If you don't make follow-ups and to make sure they are published, they are never published, no matter how good the story will be. It shouldn't be
Including an
that way.
article, including a recent article.
No, I'm just saying something.
No, I'm just coming, just
No.
teasing
I'm
you a
just
little
saying
bit.
something. It's not me because I'm the president of the press. You have a lot of friends there,
Mm.
you know. But that's the sentiment I get, you know. I, if you pay people little or no money, or if you don't pay them at all, they still have to survive. They still have to feed their families. So at the end of the day, they will do whatever they can to survive. But Reverend Suah Deddeh and my brother Alex, the crux of the matter here is the government must create that environment. When the government creates that environment, the country, the citizen will thrive. So as long as we have a government that is corrupt, the country will continue to be corrupt. And there will be no businesses in the country because
Mm.
nobody wants to invest in a country that is corrupt. I, I pretty much call all the companies operating in Liberia now fly by night companies. Maybe there will be exceptions to one or two, like I don't know, like Firestone. But maybe 90% of all the companies operating in Liberia now, they are just fly by night who are gone there, who are gonna hustle and who are gonna leave. Because that's the culture. You go and see the minister, see the director, and that's it. So until we can have a country, until we can have a government to say that, like in Ghana, if you want to establish a business in Ghana, the, either the head of that business is a Ghanaian or the deputy is a Ghanaian. We don't do that in Liberia. Anybody can go to Liberia and establish anything they want to do there. You know, so we say all of these things, the media, the this, until look, America is great. The people are great, but because you also have a government, and look, it's the character I'm talking about here.
Mhm.
It's bribery. Don't accept it. But how will you not accept it if you can feed your child? How will you not accept it if your mother is sick and she needs to go to the hospital? But here, people will render you a public service. Sometimes you say, "Oh, you have $20." They will tell you, "Thank you." They will not take it from you. Why? You think they are any different from us Liberians? No, they are not different. But at the end of the day, Reverend Swat, if he spends $100, he makes sure every 2 weeks that money is deposited in his account. So he knows how to budget to live in a country in this country. But we don't have that. I mean, you're working like bread, you don't even know when you're gonna take pay. That's so terrible. So all of these
Indeed.
things we're talking, it boils down. Look, the government, that's why we have governments. They set the stage, they set the agenda, and all other things flourish. The media, the security, the businesses, everything will fall in place if we have a decent government. But right now, since I don't know when, we have not had that kind of a government. And I pray and hope that at least Boakai will make a difference. But
Yes,
he has very little time to show himself. After 3 months, if Boakai doesn't, after 3 months, if Boakai does not show that he's up for business, he's done. People will give up on him.
Just like that.
just like that.
Oh,
Three
wow.
months I gave him.
Mhm. Let,
After
let,
3 months, if he doesn't live to this hype, the Liberians are going to give up on him.
yeah. So in other words, if his first 100 days would
It's
be
gonna
a time of people judging by just the first 100 days. That's what you're saying.
that look. They call it impression, Reverend Deddeh. You know, first impression matters a whole lot. After 100 days, if you can show that you mean business, who cares about you after 6 years from now? So I am not saying that he should have deliverables, that he should begin to show that I have done this, I have done this, but at least begin to set agenda
Hmm.
that this is where I want Liberia to go. You know, like for example, say, look, this budget is unrealistic. We can have presidents or vice presidents or senators making $10,000. This is unrealistic. I will not implement this budget until it is recast. Otherwise, nobody's going to get paid at the level of executive appointments. Let Brembo do it up for business. If I were president, that's what I would do. You know, if you have to impeach me, you have to impeach me.
Hmm.
But I can't pay anybody $10,000 or $20,000 when
Hmm.
somebody cannot even afford a cup of rice in Liberia. I will not do that. And if Baka cannot do that, that brand's going to give up on him.
Hmm.
You know?
Okay. So, as we almost get close here to our time to depart, just lastly here from my end, now, if we have a society where we all have the collective will to bring about change, and this change we've been talking about since 1980, your countrywoman born you still, from door time, that refrain that people saying, and then when Taylor came, you came my mind, you came my pie, I will vote for you, and all of that. And then we came to George. We are, book, you don't know book, I will vote for
I,
you. Okay, so now, and then the intellectuals and those who were educated were blamed for Liberia's problem. That was the propaganda by certain elements in the society. However,
yeah.
uh, the president-elect, educated, well structured when it comes to his experience in government, the high expectations are there. But again, your main point is, hey, we should temper down our high expectations. If we want to do something, let us encourage the current president or the president to really be stern, be resolute, and even if his own party is fighting him, let him be the person he says he is, to work with integrity. Let him be resolute. Let him be stern and firm in fighting corruption. It is not just he alone, but other Liberians can be involved, like the call center that you want to be set up, which is a very good proposition. And then looking at getting the budget recast and streamlined to meet the need of the people. And also, you want for our country now, if we are moving forward in our democracy, you want for our institutions to be much stronger. And in order to do that, we have to be accountable and transparent. So, all that you have said so far, we'll look at the larger demographics in our country, the youth, the young people. Now, they form bulk of our population and they're going to be future leaders. Some of them listening to you right now. And as an old hand, being around for a long time and knowing leadership qualities, what do you have for them to say? What can you say to them right now?
My advice to our young people is first, they got to exercise some patience. The discipline in our country is so hard. It has gone off the root. Our young people, I'm not saying all of them, most of them, the indiscipline is so hard among them. The disrespect, the quick money syndrome, it's just too much. When I was growing up, I'm sure when you guys were growing up, your responsibility was to go to school and prepare yourself for a better tomorrow. But our young people are not thinking in that direction today. They wake up in the morning, the first thing that they want is to see how they can grab. I want them to slow down. That's my plea to them. Slow down in life. Prepare yourself for better opportunities. Don't settle for quick fix. It's not going to help you. Don't settle for quick fix. People only use you in that process. And when they use you in that process, when they accomplish their aim, they're done with you. Go to school. Go to school if you can. People complain that they cannot go to school. Some of us had no parents, some of us had no brothers, some of us had no sisters, but we still maneuver and went to school. Some of us went to school under tough circumstances and tough situations. But we were looking for a better tomorrow, a better future. If I can sit, I always tell my folks in the village, if I can sit in America today, if I can live in America today, I believe anybody can live anywhere. Because when I was born, I couldn't imagine that I would find myself even in Monrovia. I couldn't imagine that I would find myself even in rubber sports
And someone
because I didn't
adapted
even
you,
know
right?
what it was.
Somewhere adapted you, right? Someone adapted you, help you along the way, right?
Nobody adapted. No, nobody adapted me.
No, I mean like
It's just by
somebody
my
saw
own.
you in a part of the hinterland
Yeah,
and then they help you along. That's what
I
I
was
meant.
just determined. I was just determined to be somebody. You know. So I mean, I have people along the way who push me, but you're not gonna have people along the way who will push you if you are so disrespectful to everybody. You know, you have to be humble. You have to show that you're serious for your education. I'm sure people will be around you to help you, but our young people don't have these attributes. They just want to quick, quick. I don't know whether it was on this program, but when Liberia, I sent my nephew to get me they call it what tokens for
Yes, you set up
Yeah.
this
SSG. You
program.
know
You
the
did. I
current you
remember that.
buy.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, buy the guy bought at $20. He bought $5. In 2 days time, it was finished. Until my other cousin came and said, "Oh, this guy has been tricking you, young boy, 18 years old." There's a kid that I was paying his school fees. So that's the kind of mentality our young people have. Even if you want to help them, they still want to dupe you. You know? So my advice is young people, slow down, slow down. You getting there too fast, too quick. It's not gonna help you.
Hmm.
Wonderful, wonderful. From my end, it's just a mixture of thanks for the article and just to highlight some of the points you raised in the article, which I think is a message loud and clear to the incoming leadership, the incoming government. You made it clear that no leader can be beholden to cronies, praise singers, and blind lawyer followers and succeed. This is very sacrosanct. Uh, 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 from what you're saying, it's clear and a leader who means well will see this, read this, and take it very seriously. It is true that our leaders, our executive presidents, say whatever we call it, fall prey to these kind of people around them, telling them everything is good, and whereby things are not good. Those suffer that. I believe Torba suffered that, and even perhaps Stockman might have suffered that. And so your message to the new government and those who are going to come in government, especially the president, to be careful with these cronies and these praise singers and the blind lawyer followers who will just say everything is good when things are not good. They will not speak up and just flow with the situation. I mean, you give a clear message on that. And one other thing I see you have here, corruption and impunity remain the country's two strong major obstacles to development and progress. I just want to accentuate this so that those who watching this program today will hear it and take it very seriously, especially those who are coming into leadership, not coming to leadership for the first time, but into leading the government as president and vice president. We haven't mentioned Jeremiah Cohen yet. We also know that he has a role to play in working with the president to make sure corruption is fought tooth and nail so that we can nip this issue in the bud for us to have a structural situation in Liberia where people will predict circumstances of those who will engage in corruption. They will predict the outcome because if you are in corruption, the president, the vice president, the government will come at you not in a way but by due process of law. When people get to realize this, like you said, Liberians will begin to take heed. Another thing that I noticed here that is not mentioned here is the Liberians themselves will have to take themselves seriously. I mean, you don't just allow anybody to come and have you vote for them, and then at the end of the day, they toss you away and wait for the next election cycle. Liberians will have to value themselves because that's what happened. And maybe you know that, and at least you
That's
know
so serious.
yeah, they
That's
come
so
and vote for you. At the end of the day, you throw them away, and then the second election cycle they come and give you flowery words, and you follow that
Yeah.
and vote for them again. So Liberians have a
Yeah.
role to play, Ellis and
Mhm.
Mr. Massally. They have a role to play to make
That,
sure the government feet is held to the fire to do the right thing. So I just
that's
want to highlight some of these things as we're about to close, Ellis.
All right, and
thank you.
this is how we end our program. But remember, Mr. Abraham G. Massally, former president of the President of Liberia, he is not criticizing the incoming government. Let's get it straight, okay? It's January 10th, 2024. The Analyst newspaper. Go back and read it. It is rich with a lot of flavors, reminding of our history. You remember people died from 1980, the revolution, and up to now. You know, people die because of this infighting, and people want to engage in public corruption, and so there's a lot that he listed there, and how we can have a better country, and how President-elect Boakai can enact his characteristics of integrity and resolution and every other thing, you know, that embody his experience in government all of these years, how to dispense them. That's what he's saying here. But if you look at the title of the article, "To Tune Down Expectations," you would think he's against the government. No, he's not. It is paradoxical, but he is encouraging all of us, okay, with a collective will. And it takes a collective will, just not the president-elect, but those that are in the other branches of government, like the legislature and the judiciary. So we have to work together and build strong institutions and allow our democracy to grow. Now we have shown the world, even our African countries, that indeed, if someone is not a winner of the election, you pick up the phone and call. George Weah set that example,
And
and we
concede.
Yes.
must commend him for that. Yeah,
Yeah,
pick up the
yeah.
phone and congratulate, and not to fight endlessly. And so we are so thankful, and thanks to all of the church leaders who have been praying. Remember, we all been praying for this whole election to end, and end it meaningfully and reasonably and peacefully. So we are so grateful. Thank you, Mr. Massally, for coming, and we'll sometime invite you again as you go
Sure.
back to your corner, your little corner.
Sure.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, thank you. Well, I must thank you so for your program. It's a rich program. It's a beautiful program. Please continue the good work.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
sir. Thank you.
Okay,
Okay.
then share our link. We'll be back here
Okay.
next Saturday, the same
Okay.
time,
Okay.
4 p.m. Eastern Time, 3 p.m. Central Time in Liberia, 9 p.m. Until then, my name is Pastor Alexander Red, along with Reverend Suah Deddeh, and we'll see you next week. Bye for now.